Hello, everyone, and welcome back to our ongoing series on how to set up and play both the Avalon Adventure board game and Dungeon Crusade. I hope that you are doing awesome, having a great summer, and it's just really nice to be back here with you. This is, of course, Roger with Grubus Games Unlimited, creator of Dungeon Crusade, the Avalon Adventure board game, and again, I greatly welcome you. It's great to always hang out with you and get you more acclimated to the game and teach you some strategies. So without further ado, let's get on with this. And going back to the hero phase videos, yes, that section was quite a bit, but I hope that you enjoyed it and you learned a ton about the game within the hero phase, because there's just so much you can do in this game. So I do hope you enjoyed that. Today's video is going over the monster phase, going back to our handy quick reference guide. And guys, I don't think this is going to be that long of a video, because a lot of the stuff we discussed were in prior videos. We talked about the patrol routes. So I don't think this is going to be that much to go over. Of course, just going back, there's the upkeep. That for a full turn is the upkeep phase, then the encounter phase, guardian phase, hero phase, and then our monster phase. So we're going to talk about spawning minions. How do minions get into this dungeon? You probably already know that, but we're going to go over that. We're going to talk about the Guardian's movement, and I'm going to reset up. Remember the battle we had with Bainvik with all the heroes kind of like ganging up on him? We're going to set that back up, and I'm going to show you how a Guardian attacks. Basically, if you saw how a minion works with the target priority, same exact thing. So there's going to be some familiarity to you for that already. I guess without further ado, let's start right here at the monster phase. And I don't think this video is going to be that long, but we'll touch on some very fun parts of the game and of course get you acclimated to this. So let's move the camera and let's spawn some minions, or teach you how to spawn minions into the dungeon. Okay, we're over here again. We're looking at the minion population track, and I actually moved it up to 4. So we're going to go over this. This is the first thing you do when you start the monster phase. So I'm going to try to hold this sideways, and we're just going to read right where it says monster phase, and it's very simple. Spawn new minions. If the total number of minions in the dungeon is less than the value on the minion population track, spawn new minions until the total number of minions is equal to the minion population track value. Now, again, if we survey our dungeon, of course, there's no minions to be seen. So we have to populate minions. So this is on 4, right? Okay, we're going to go over to our level 1 minion deck, because remember, our heroes are working on quest table 1. So level 1 minions will spawn, and just touch on it again, when they're working on quest table 2, level 2 minions will spawn. And when they're working on quest table level 3, you guessed it, level 3 minions will spawn. So we're going to go over to our level 1 minion deck, and we're going to get 4 minions randomly spawned into our dungeon. And before we head over to the minion deck, of course we learned about this before, but maybe someone's just joining us now. Let's go over this quickly. The monster spawn points are like these. Actually, here's a picture right here. See, like this, these skulls with this bubble right here. It says 5. Hopefully that comes into focus. Put out some. There it goes. Okay, so there's 8 of those around the dungeon, and like I said, it's kind of like a clock, how it goes around. So there's like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. Simply, we're going to, of course, take our D8 and we're going to roll it, and that's where the minion will randomly spawn into the dungeon. So another great thing, you'll never know where minions will pop up in the dungeon. Okay, so 8 spawn points around the dungeon. We're going to use a D8. Let's go get some minions. Okay, before we draw, I want to explain about the monster area. And simply, it's just where you're going to place the monster cards. So I usually designate mine right underneath all the monster cards. So you're just going to put them, in a row. And if you run out of space, start another column. If you're going to play with a lot of minions. And again, highly recommend to play with the new official game variant, Evolved Minions. I know you're going to love it. So in our monster area, we're going to draw from the level 1 minion deck. Remember, we're going to need 4 minions. We'll take a time and, go through the first one, but then we'll quickly do the others. Okay, so we have, it's a blue. Remember, the blue crystal means it's a normal version, so it's a skeletal grunt. So we'll put him right here in our monster area. Let's roll the D8. 7. Okay, so we're going to go over and we're going to look for spawn point, monster spawn point 7, and place our skeletal grunt. Okay, and here, of course, here's our D7 on our D8. There's monster spawn point 7. Here's our skeletal grunt. And that's it. It's as simple as that. And remember, he is a vagrant minion, or it rather. It is a vagrant minion. It does not know the heroes are in the dungeon yet. It just spawned into the dungeon. When minions enter in, they are vagrant minions. Okay, let's go over to our next one. Okay, going over to our minion deck, draw, and it's an elite. Remember, there's a gold star. It's an elite Shadow Dweller. These guys have a lot of movement. It's a base movement of 5 plus a D6, so they can, get through the dungeon pretty good. Okay, so we're just going to put this in our monster area. Again, going right across. We're going to roll our D8. 5. Okay, let me get the miniature for the Shadow Dweller, and let's head over to spawn point 5. Okay, and again, there's our D8 was showing 5. Here's our elite Shadow Dweller, and we're going to put him on spawn point 5. Again, a vagrant minion. Okay, let's go back over to our deck. Okay, I think you got the hang of how these minions spawn into the dungeon. So we're going to spawn 2 more in. Let's draw next one. Okay, it's a red wraith. Remember, the red crystal. This is, of course, an elite also. So let's roll for the wraith where it's going to show up. Okay, 5. I'm glad that this one came up. So I want to show you how you can go about placing another minion, because of course our Shadow Dweller is on the same spawn point. So let's go back over to spawn point 5. Okay, and we're back here at spawn point 5 with our Shadow Dweller. Now there's a few different ways that you can spawn this wraith. Now, of course, it can't go on top of the spawn point, the monster spawn point, but what you can do is, and this is in the quick reference guide, you can use the patrol route die. So you would just roll, and okay, blue came up, so we can see there's a blue patrol route right here. You can just place it right there. Simple as that. And then it would move on to that monster spawn point to pick up a patrol route. So we're going to move him off, or what you can do is, what I sometimes do is, consider this like all the spaces around here, like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Well, you couldn't do it in the chamber, but 6, 7, 8. And you can just roll a D8, and then, wherever space 5 would be. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, it would be right there. So there's a few different ways you can randomly, spawn it in so you don't have to really think where to place it. So for right now, we'll just place our wraith right there. Okay, and we have one more minion to spawn in, and this is going to be the normal version, because there's a blue crystal of the Blackwood Prowler. So let's roll to see where it is going to go. 4. Okay, that's just going to be right next door in the war room. So let me grab its miniature, and we'll head over there. And here we are over here in the war room section, and there's monster spawn point 4, and we're going to place our Blackwood Prowler right there. So our 4 minions are now spawned into the dungeon. And at this time, I think what we're going to do is we're going to spawn in a Guardian. Now, a Guardian won't spawn in the monster phase, but I just kind of want to sneak this in because I want to show you a few things about a Guardian and their movement. And if you don't mind, I would like to go over Red Widow's, this is her level 1 monster card, and of course you know that I wrote origin stories for all of the monsters and some of the heroes in the game, just to draw players more into the experience. But I'd like to go over her origin story and just give you kind of like a little drop in the bucket of what you can expect with Dungeon Crusade. Okay, now once you kind of go through the game with the Avalon Adventure board game and the adventure cards and these origin stories and the heroes and just everything, it was, I wanted to kind of develop this with all this lore for players to learn about. You know, like, so maybe when you play one time you learn a few different things, and then you learn something else on another game. So there's this, I always wanted to have it like something new for the player to learn about. So right here, here's the origin story for Red Widow. It's a fairly, I think, a pretty interesting one. So let's take a look at this real quick. Origins, the Vile Tower. And of course, all this ties into the land of Avalon on the map. Kyra Jandar was a warrior within the Maidens of Witherbrook Forest, along with her comrade, Charcy Sibrai. On a fateful night within the depths of the Vile Tower, Kyra and Charcy had tracked down a malevolent archmage known only as Tavok. As Kyra landed the killing blow, Tavok stabbed Kyra with a tainted blade that transformed her into the creature known as Red Widow. So at one time, if you've played the game, you know like about the Tower of the Maidens and the Maidens of Witherbrook Forest. They're these very fierce female warriors who stand to defend Avalon. So at one time, Red Widow was this warrior named Kyra Jandar. So I think we're going to be touching on this more in the expansion, but I just thought you'd like to check this out in one of the origin stories for the Guardian. So let's get her into the dungeon, and let me show you a few things. Okay, we're just going to place her here in our monster area. So you notice how I did that, going from left to right. So I would start another row here if any additional guardians or minions would spawn into the dungeon. So let's bring Red Widow in on monster spawn point 1. And here is monster spawn point 1. So we're going to just bring Red Widow in for our demo here. Okay, we're going to come back to her, but I want to go over the minions with you just one more time to just reinforce what to do when it's their turn to activate. And if you remember, this was our first monster or minion that we spawned into the dungeon. So its monster card was, of course, the first one. So this will activate first. And like we discussed before, looking at its monster card, remember, it has a base movement of 2 plus the roll of a d6. So hopefully all this is familiar to you from what we learned in the prior videos. So what are we going to do? We're going to roll all these dice together for movement. And remember the raid die. We're playing on novice difficulty. So on a result of 20, this minion is going to convert into a raiding minion. Or if this minion catches sight of a hero within 4 squares, line of sight, 4 squares, it'll also convert into a raiding minion, and it'll follow these bloody arrows on the floor out of the dungeon. So hopefully you remember that from a few videos ago. And then finally, we're going to roll the patrol route die. And like I said before, picture this is like spinning around in its little brain. So it's thinking which way it is going to go. So we're going to roll these 3 dice. Okay, so it only got a 1. So 1 and 2, that's only 3. Okay, raid die result was 18. So it's not going to raid. And finally, it is going to follow the green patrol route. So looking here in the dungeon, that is right here. And it's simply just going to go 1, 2, 3. And what you can do is notice the facing, how it's kind of looking that way. That's what I do. So see how there's an orange, let me move the door. You can see there's an orange and green. Simply all you have to do is kind of point it in that direction. So I'm going to point it towards the green patrol route, just as a reminder that this skeletal grunt is on the green patrol route. And of course it was on the orange. We just face it that way. Very simple way to remember that. Okay, so that's again how a minion moves through the dungeon. And actually, let's move up here before we go, because I know we're going to have to come back to this. There's a spawn point right up here. So let's say on its next turn somehow it had rolled a 6. Okay, the raid result was just a 3, so it's not going to raid, but it has 6 plus 2. Okay, so that's 8 movement. So it's going to go 1, 2. It's going to wait, Remember, it has 6 movement remaining. So now it's like thinking again, what patrol route am I going to go on? It's going to roll, and it's going to go now on the blue patrol route. So looking up here, the blue patrol route is right over here. So it's going to finish its movement of 6 on the blue patrol route. Again, facing it towards that way. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. It's out of camera's view. But you can see with this system, with the patrol route, like we talked about, they have unpredictable movement. You don't know where they're going to go next. Okay, so that's simply how a minion moves and activates on its turn in the monster phase. Okay, and we're going to say those 4 minions, we already activated them, and we're at Red Widow here. So she was the last in our monster area to activate. So let's go over a Guardian card real quick, and they're very similar to a minion card. Right here, of course, those are the warfare values that Red Widow is proficient in. Just like a minion card, level 1, and we learned about target priority. So that's who, she's going to target first is your class 1 hero. That's your knight and barbarian. Class 2 is your archer and rogue. And finally, C3 are your wizard and cleric. So that's the target priority box like we learned. But here's something different. Notice for movement, that says 3Q. And what that means is Guardians don't move squares. They move by quadrants. Yes, these things can go through the dungeon quite quickly, especially Red Widow. And our other Guardian, Dreadthorn, the undead dragon, has 4Q. He can move, or it can move rather, 4 quadrants. So these things can really get really through the dungeon quite quickly. And they can, as you know, they can be quite fierce. But notice something right here with the loot and gold roll. And again, this is something, kind of like, I love MMORPGs. So notice that there's these ×2. Okay, there's, of course, the treasure chest and the gold. But there's this ×2. What that simply means is you're going to roll the D20 twice for that because, it's a guardian, it's a boss. There's chances of this, carrying possibly a few pieces of loot and a lot of gold. So what you're going to do is just, first of all, roll the D20 once, whatever the result is, process that on the card, and then again, roll the D20 a second time and process that again. So you can see that someone like Red Widow, she has a very good chance of carrying some gold because it's 7+. So all you have to get is 7 or higher, and that's 300 gold. And she's like okay with, hopefully dropping a few pieces of loot. And this is really, I was really inspired by, MMORPGs and the creation of guardians, like how the heroes can gang up on them and rally together to take these things down. So everything else is pretty much the same. They're worth a lot more life force, XP, 5. And of course, they have higher health. And of course, all of this goes up as they level up to level 4. Origin story, and then like I said, on level 2, 3, and 4, you'll find brand new special abilities as they level up for all the Guardians. But let's discuss this right here, this 3Q, and let me show you an example how they can move through the dungeon. And before we get on to our demo, just know we're going to refer back to the quick reference guide. If I can try to get it in here, there's a really nice section on the Guardians here, but we've covered everything about this. And if we move to the next page, again, there's not that much, but it kind of just shows when a Guardian is tracking a hero and how they can move. All right, so this is in the quick reference guide for you. But quite simply, we're going to do this. We're going to get the patrol route die right here, and I had to move this back because Red Widow stands to move a lot through this dungeon. You're going to roll the patrol route die, 3 quadrants, so you're going to roll this 3 times to see where she's going to go. Very, very simple. So we're going to roll. Okay, so that is the green patrol route, consulting where she's at. Okay, so it's right, get my pointer here. So it's right over here, and we're going to have to move the camera. So I might have to hold this. So she is going to follow the green patrol route. Very, very simple. And she ends up on that spawn point. And notice this is one of the skull pile spawn points right there. So she has used one of her movements. You're going to roll again. This is her second movement. Okay, she's going to move on the blue patrol route. So this is right here. She's going to follow the blue patrol route to this monster spawn point. So she's up there now in the dungeon. Finally, this is her last movement. I'm going to roll. And this is the purple patrol route. So taking a look where this is, okay, I'm glad this came up. Remember we talked about the footprint? It's hard to see right here, but there's the orange patrol route, but there's the purple footprint there. A guardian or a minion simply follows that. So the purple footprint is on the orange, and let's go over here. So she's going to follow the purple, which is orange, right up here, and lands right here in the cesspool south area. So very simple how that works. All the guardians use the same movement. Then remember, let's say that Palum happened to be right here. She has line of sight. Remember, it's 4 spaces, 1, 2, 3. What we're going to do is take those, remember those tracking tokens? We're going to get the tracking tokens. Here's the one. And then, of course, there's a matching one. We're going to put one of these on Red Widow's monster card, and we're going to put one on Palum because, you know, she is tracking that hero now. So I'll put one here, and I have to get the other token here. Okay, and here it is. So one is on Palum's card, and I'm putting this on Red Widow. And that's quite simply how the Guardians move. And remember, line of sight is 4. So now Red Widow is tracking Palum. Okay, and one of the last things we're going to do here, remember this little battle we had during the hero phase? We're going to revisit that. And I just want to go over again when a Guardian is going to attack a hero. But first, I think you'd enjoy seeing this and just kind of like more about the game. This is, of course, Bainvik's level 1 monster card. And remember, there's no all Guardians don't have any special abilities in level 1. It's just their origin story. However, just like heroes, that Guardians can level up. So notice here on level 2 that Bainvik has gained a special ability, which is Grab and Slam. And this is when it's targeted at a target hero, but he can do a lot of damage if he gets a hold of a hero. So again, when he levels up, again, I created all these different special abilities and they get quite nasty. At level 3, he's going to gain an AoE. And AoE is something like from a MMORPG. It means an area of effect. So he has on defense mythical ground stomp. Before any warfare roll is made against Bainvik, each hero must test agility 17 to jump at the right time to avoid the mythical ground stomp. So he can do a lot of damage with this. And then finally, at level 4, he's just insane. That's another AoE right here, and this is Massive Club Swing. Before any warfare roll is made against Bainvik, each hero must test Strength 18 to hold their ground and deflect the club. On a fail, roll 1d8. Result is damage taken. In addition, test Physical Resistance 17. So they can get a physical affliction and possibly 8 damage. So I just thought you would like to see that, you know, as these Guardians go up in level, they're going to gain new special abilities and they're going to get much tougher. So, but as it is, we're only dealing with a level 1 Bainvik. So let's get down closer into the dungeon and let's see who Bainvik is going to attack with his target priority box. And we're going to go over this a little in depth for you. Okay, so around him we can see adjacent to Bainvik is Cerbrenus and Mahaliak and Palum. And hopefully you caught that other video where we were talking about class rating. where, where a hero is depending on their class rating. So, your knights, Sir Brennus and Mahaliak are class rating 1. So this falls in with the target priority box. So hopefully, if you didn't catch that, I would definitely go back and watch that video so you're up to speed of what we're talking here, or what's going on. But then before we get into this, notice 2 quadrants. So Bainvik can move 2 quadrants. So let's consider right here his target priority box. He's going to target a class 3 hero. That's, of course, Zeke, our wizard, and Faith, our cleric. Well, let's take a look around here. They're not here. They're not around. So we're going to move on to the next one, class 2. That's our rogue Palum, and Enwyn, our archer. And there she is. Palum is our class 2 hero. Bainvik has his target. It's going to be Palum. Sorry, it was kind of fuzzy there. So that's his target. Let me explain also, supposingly that Enwyn was over here where Mahaliak is. That's 2 class heroes, correct? What you would do is Bainvik is going to attack the hero with the less health. So he's smart enough to know he can hopefully kill a hero with less health. Now, the last thing is, supposedly both heroes have the same health. That's very easy. What you're going to do is you're going to assign, say, Palum 1 to 3 and Enwyn 4 to 6, and you're going to roll a d6. So whatever the result is, Bainvik will attack that hero. I always wanted to make sure in Dungeon Crusade, you never have to think for the monsters. They kind of think for themselves in a way. To me, you can always have a better experience at a dungeon crawl game when you can get out of your head what a monster is going to do and let the AI take over. But as it is, Bainvik is going to attack Palum. So let's set up a little battle over here, and we're going to use just a method where we quickly shake up the tokens in our hand and put them out on the table. I thought we could change it up. So let's go over here and see how the battle goes and explain a little bit for you on this. Okay, I set up our little demo here just so you can see everything. Of course, in the game, you won't do this, but I just want to have everything in your view so you can see what's going on. So again, this is in the monster phase when a guardian is going to attack a hero. So here we can see on Bainvik's card, he is proficient in physical warfare, mythical warfare, chaos warfare. Those are the warfare dice, of course. Now, remember our battle tokens here? That's the attack side. Well, automatically, when a guardian is going to attack the hero, you're going to be using the defense side. You're simply going to put those all on the hero card. That means that she has to defend in phase 1, 2, and 3. However, remember counterattack. And let's go over this real quick. It only costs 1 essence to activate. You can't use it in the chamber. And of course, we're in the dungeon. Well, we're out of the dungeon, but we would be in the dungeon. So looking at the card here, counterattack may be activated during the monster phase when a monster is about to attack an adjacent hero. When activated, the hero may select one phase of combat to attack in instead of defending in. The hero can use counterattack at any level. So, of course, we're going to want her to attack, for a chance to put some damage on Bainvik. So what we're going to do is we're going to activate this right now. So I'm going to pay the 1 essence, move this off here. I'm going to pay the 1 essence. Okay, so now I can use one of these to attack with. So let's move these dice out of the way. And again, we're just going to do a simple, this method of just shuffling them and put down the warfare tokens. Kind of like we did over there with the battle chart on the Dungeon UI board. Okay, so we can leave that up. So phase 1 is going to be, remember, just picture phase 1, 2, and 3, like on the app. Okay, so phase 2 is going to be mythical, and phase 3 is going to be physical warfare. We're definitely going to attack. But remember, kind of picture up here is attack, down here is defend. So we're going to take our phase 2. We're going to counterattack. And we're just going to put it on a dull stiletto here. So we're going to kind of push the attack and defend in those two. All right? And quite simply, that's about it. You're going to take your dice and roll. I don't know if that was a great roll, but let's see what she got. She did terrible with that. She might have defended with that. Oh, that's a really good hit right there. I think actually she did pretty good. So let's consult everything here. Going with phase one, that was a, was that 14, right? Yes, 14. Okay, well, she's got 13 here, but looking on her hero card under Chaos Warfare, luckily it's a +2. So that's 15. She defended, because remember, when you're defending, all you have to meet or exceed that so you don't take damage. Again, anything under 14, 13 and under, she would have taken 2 damage. So she successfully defended in phase one with a 13, 2 on her hero card, that's 15. That's successful, no damage. Okay, so we push the attack, remember, with the Dull Stiletto, and that's a 1 damage. That's 14 here, and Mythical on her card, she excels. She's very proficient in Mythical. That is a +3. So 3 and 13, that's 16. I know that she landed a hit on Banevik. So, yeah, because she only needed to get a 10. So, take one of our damage tokens. She's put remember, he had other damage here. I had cleared that, but so he would have another damage. Finally, she had to defend in physical warfare, and that's very bad. There's 4 on her hero card. She's got a -2 from that, so she only has a 4. Consulting Banevik's monster card under physical warfare, that's 2 damage. So Halum is going to take 2 damage from that, but really not that bad though, because she landed a hit, and I just marked that down. But she landed a hit and she defended successfully in Chaos Warfare. And guys, that's exactly how all of that works when a hero has to defend against a Guardian. But remember, like how we looked at Banevik's massive club swing, that's an AoE. So all the heroes are going to have to, that could stand to get hit by that. Okay, let's finish up a couple other things here for the monster phase. And one thing I wanted to point out to you in the monster phase, let's say that there was a minion card here and over here, and the heroes had slayed 2 of those minions. So what you're going to do in your monster area is just kind of shuffle everything this way, towards the end of the monster phase. So on the next monster phase, remember, you're going to consult the minion population track, and it's at 4 right now, and you're going to spawn 2 new minions into the dungeon. So just always remember, whatever the minion population track says, that's as many minions that needs to be in the dungeon. And real quick, just to reinforce it, here's our minion population track. So there was only 2 minions left, and of course this is on 4. So the next monster phase, make sure to spawn in 2 more minions, or wherever your token happened to be at on the track. Okay, everyone, and this does it for the monster phase. We're kind of at the end of our quick reference guide, and there were some other things about combat, but again, we touched on a lot of that already. And remember, though, about minions and the hit and run tactics. Definitely watch, I think it was part 2 and part 3 of the Evolved Minions videos to see that in action, because we covered that pretty good in those 2 videos. So do check out the hit and run tactics that minions have. And really, this is really about it for the monster phase. There's some other couple very small things, but of course you can find this in your quick reference guide on that. But as simple as it is, that was the monster phase. So right now we're going to have one final video, and then we're going to end this series for now, but we're definitely coming back because we're moving into a few very awesome announcements. So our last video here, we're going to go over Celebration Day. We're going to say that our level 1 quests are complete, And we're going to move into Celebration Day and just talk about that, leveling heroes up, the House of Chance stuff. And within this, though, we're going to have kind of like a final discussion or final thoughts and everything, and just a couple of things I'd like to share with you. So you have that to look forward to. Again, thank you guys. I hope that you learned even more about Dungeon Crusade. You pretty much know the whole game besides some things about Celebration Day. So we'll wrap that up there. Listen, I hope everyone has a great day. Thank you again for your time, your interest. I actually love these videos and creating them for you and hanging out with you. So stay tuned for Celebration Day discussion, and we'll wrap it up. Have a great day, guys. Stay safe, and I will be talking to you very soon. Bye-bye.